The Minecraft 1.20 Trails and Tales update has just released, and it comes with a ton of new features that you might not know about. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at every single new feature in Minecraft 1.20. Let's start off with one of the biggest and most exciting feature sets, and that is the Cherry Blossom biome. You can find this biome in mountain ranges where the meadows used to be. This of course comes with a brand new tree type, which is absolutely beautiful, and a full new set of wood. As you can see, we got doors and trapdoors and stairs and slabs, logs, basically everything that you would expect from a wood set. We got it in cherry variety. It is incredibly bright pink. Of course, the leaves have a bit of a unique ability where they just constantly drip these lovely little particles everywhere. You can also find these little pink petals as a new flower in the cherry blossom biome, and these things are really easy to farm. You can bone meal them, and that takes it from layer 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and then if you keep bone mealing it, you just get another petal. And yeah, you can basically just keep spamming this thing, and it's the easiest thing to farm ever. There's no new mobs to this biome, but this is a pretty peaceful biome, so you're gonna get pigs and bees to spawn here pretty frequently. We also got another wood set in 1.20, and that is the bamboo wood, a really underrated feature that might even revolutionize the way that you play Minecraft. Of course, we have basically every block that you might expect. The reason why bamboo wood is so revolutionary is because of how you make it. So of course, bamboo is really easy to farm. There's just tons of the stuff, but what you do is you grab 9 pieces of bamboo, and that gives you 1 block of bamboo. This is basically like a log, but in bamboo form. So as you can see, these are incredibly cheap, but now we can turn these into 2 planks, and these planks can actually be used for anything that you want. So planks can be turned into chests, of course. They can be turned into sticks. You can turn them into a raft. This means that your standard type of wood that you use for all of your generic blocks can now be sourced from bamboo. You really don't need to cut down like any more trees, and you can have a fully automatic wood farm in Minecraft now. There's even another layer to the crafting, so if you take some bamboo planks and you turn those into bamboo slabs, now you can turn those into the block of bamboo mosaics, and these can also be turned into their own sets of slabs and stairs. So this is the normal texture for the bamboo blocks and planks, and then this is the mosaic. As you can see, it just kind of turns the direction of the bamboo. One of the biggest upgrades in Minecraft 1.20 is the armor trims and smithing templates. This is a cosmetic feature that you can apply to your armor. There are 16 different patterns that you can have in 10 different colors, and you can apply them to anything that you wear. They honestly look really, really good, and you'll find these smithing templates all over the world. Basically, every major structure in the game has a smithing template associated with it. One of the biggest changes in 1.20 is also an armor trim, and that is the change to netherite armor tool and weapon crafting. If you want to upgrade anything from diamond to netherite, now you'll need a netherite ingot and one of the netherite upgrade smithing templates. You can find these smithing templates in the Bastion remnants in the nether, and once you have a single one of the templates, you can actually copy it and craft more of them. It just takes 7 diamonds and a piece of netherrack. You can actually make copies of any of these smithing templates, so you really only need to find one of them, and then you have infinite. So now netherite tools, weapons, and armor are going to be a little bit more difficult and a little bit more expensive to craft, but that makes sense because it is the in-game set of gear. I'm making a full deep dive video on armor trims, so make sure to check that out when it's released. Links will be everywhere. Let's start off with the new mobs. First up, we have the Camel. This is an absolutely huge mob that is able to sit down and of course stand up. Look at its cute little wiggly ears. So you can find this guy in the middle of any desert village. There's always going to be one here basically, and it's actually able to be ridden, so you can put a saddle on it and 2 players can ride the camel at one time. As you can see, it doesn't really have an inventory, so you can't put a chest on it or anything. Camels now give cactus a proper use as well, so you can lure the camels using cactus and breed them too, and that is how you get these super adorable baby camels. The camels have a couple of different unique properties to them. 2 players can ride them at once, and they also have the standard walking speed and a little bit of a running speed as well. They can also do a bit of a dash attack where they can jump about 8 or so blocks forwards, allowing you to cross small ravines and caves and whatnot. Our next mob is the Sniffer. To get the Sniffer, you're gonna have to do a little bit of work. First, you'll have to find a warm ocean ruin, so that's gonna mean that the bottom of the ocean is made out of sand, and then you need to get yourself a brush, which has a very easy crafting recipe. And now you need to find yourself some suspicious sand, which looks exactly like this. So that's suspicious sand next to some regular sand. And then you simply brush it. You can get all kinds of different items from it. Most of it is pretty bad, but sometimes you get a pottery sherd. You'll want to do a lot of digging around because sometimes this suspicious sand is buried. But as you can see, we can actually get a sniffer egg from this one right here. Now, these are not super duper common, but as you can see, this tiny little ocean ruin, which is literally just like 5 blocks and some random sand, actually gave us a sniffer egg. Of course, if you want to breed sniffers, you're gonna have to find 2 of these. So sniffer eggs can be placed on basically any block in the game, and as you can see, they look very special. Now, they'll take 20 minutes to hatch if you place them on just like regular blocks, but if you place them on moss, then they'll actually take 10 minutes. So definitely worth finding yourself a moss block. You can't do too much with the sniffers. You can't ride them or tame them or anything like that, but occasionally they will drop down to the ground and sniff the ground, and that is actually when you can get 2 different seeds from them. You can either get the torchflower seed or the pitcher pod seed. Now, it's worth mentioning that the torchflower seeds can actually be used to lure them, and that's also how you breed the sniffers as well. And that's also how you can get more of the sniffer eggs, which of course you'll have to spend 10 minutes hatching. And that's the size of the baby sniffer compared to the large ones. As you can see, they're so tiny and adorable. So the torch flowers and pitcher pods can be planted on regular farmland, and these are all the growth stages of the torch flower. Now, this thing can actually be turned into orange dye, as you can see there, but no, it does not emit any light, even though it's called a torch flower. They lied to us. Now, the pitcher pod has 5 different growth stages, and this thing is actually a 2 tall flower. So when you first plant it, it's going to look like this, and then stage number 2, stage number 3, stage number 4, and finally stage number 5 is this one right here. So whenever you break down or harvest the pitcher plant, it's going to turn into the pitcher plant item, which can then be planted around the world. And of course, this can also be turned into a dye. You get cyan from it. Usually the sniffers will grab a seed from the ground every few minutes, but I've not seen any of these sniffers do it, so maybe it's slightly broken on Bedrock Edition at the moment. They've also added a new structure to Minecraft in 1.20, and that is the Trails Ruins. You can find these things scattered around the overworld, and you'll just see a couple blocks like this poking out of the surface. Now, this is actually a much larger structure, but you'll have to excavate it. As you can see, there's actually like a lot of stuff down there. Now, on Bedrock Edition, the top of the structure might actually be disconnected from the bottom of the structure, so if you don't see anything, just keep digging, you'll find it eventually. This is part of the archaeology part of 1.20, so you're going to find a ton of suspicious gravel and suspicious sand in these structures, which you'll have to use the brush on to get a ton of different sherds, even a new music disc, and of course, some armor trims as well. Keep in mind, there's no actual loot chest here. The only loot that you're going to be getting from this place is inside of the suspicious blocks, so be careful when you're mining around this area. Make sure none of them fall down and break. And yeah, you're going to be spending quite a bit of time brushing gravel and whatnot. Now, of course, you can see the item before it comes out, so like this is just a piece of string. You could just break the block and move on. There's no penalty to that, and the item is actually set in stone, so you're never going to get like a different item out of it. This one is always going to give us a brown candle, for example. With this little trick in mind, you can save yourself a lot of time. That way you know that that one's always going to give you a sherd. This one's always a piece of lapis or dye. That one's always a candle. And this one's actually something good. Never mind. It's just a flower pot. I thought it was a sherd. I got bamboozled. So it's about time that we get into archaeology, one of the biggest feature sets of Minecraft 1.20. The first thing that you need to know is how to craft yourself a brush. It is extremely cheap. You need a feather, a stick, and then a copper ingot, and that is how you can craft up yourself a brush. You can find suspicious sand and suspicious gravel all around the world at a bunch of different structures, such as the desert pyramid and a hidden little room. The desert well has some underneath it. You can also find it at the ocean ruins in warm and cold ocean biomes, and of course the Trails Ruins as well. So this again is what the suspicious sand looks like, and this is what the suspicious gravel looks like compared to the normal varieties. Now, if you place this stuff down from creative, you're not actually going to get anything from it. You have to find suspicious blocks out in the world. You also have to be really careful with this stuff, so if you let either of these blocks fall down at all, they're just going to break and shatter, and you can't get any items out of it. So be careful when you're excavating excavating the area with your high efficiency tools, and you also cannot silk touch this stuff to collect it manually. It just breaks off. So the only way to get anything from it is to slowly and carefully, you know, brush it with your brush. So what do you actually get from it? Well, there are 20 different pottery sherds that you can see here, which you can craft into 20 different types of decorated pot. There's also the sniffer egg and a new music disc as well. This music disc is called Relic, and this is a little bit of what it sounds like. So what exactly are the pottery sherds? And yes, they actually are called sherds. That's an archaeological term. Now, if you collect 4 of these, or really any quantity, you can combine them in a crafting table. Now, the order doesn't really matter, but as you can see, if you have 4 of them, that is going to give you a decorated pot, and that's going to have all of the little sherds displayed on it, as you can see there. So if you don't have all 4 sherds, or if you don't want to, you know, waste 4 sherds on a single pot, you actually only need 1. You just put 1 in the crafting table there, and then 3 bricks, and it's going to look plain depending on where you place the sherd, but as you can see, 3 sides of it are plain, and then 1 side has the pattern on it. And then of course, for all you builders out there, you can just make a regular pot, and this is actually quite nice for all kinds of decorations as well. Now, you can actually break these things by hand and get the pot back. They're always non-stackable, even if they have the exact same pattern on them, but you can also mine them with silk touch and get them back that way. You can also pull a classic video game move, and if you break them without silk touch, then they just break down into all their parts. So yeah, you can go pot smashing in Minecraft now. Another one of the underrated features of 1.20 is the hanging signs. So you can place these in a ton of new orientations that regular signs can't be, such as underneath a block connected to the side of a block like this, and then you can even hang a hanging sign from another hanging sign like this. But wait, there is so much more to these signs in 1.20. So now you can actually click on the sign to edit it, and it's better than that. Now signs are double-sided, so you can type on both sides of them, and you can edit the text as well. Oops, we'll just fix that one real quick. So that is all good and great, but what if you want to lock the sign so that it can't be edited? And like, you get all your colors perfect, you get all your glows perfect, then all you need to do is click on it with a piece of honeycomb, and now the sign is locked. It can no longer be edited unless you break it. Now, when you lock one side of a sign, it's also going to lock the other side of it as well, so make sure you keep that in mind. So yes, this applies to the hanging signs, but it also applies to the regular signs as well. As you can see, you can type on the front of it. Now we can type on the back of it as well. You can color the one side, dye the one side, and then if you lock it, that's going to lock both sides of the sign. And of course, every wood type has its own type of hanging sign. The crafting recipe for the hanging sign is surprisingly expensive, so a regular sign, of course, is 6 planks and a stick, and then you get 3 of those. But for a hanging sign, you're going to need 6 of these stripped logs of whatever type of sign that you want to make, and then 2 chains, and that'll actually give you 6 of the hanging signs. Hanging signs are about twice as expensive, requiring 1 log per sign compared to 2 planks per sign, and they also don't have as wide of a typing interface. As you can see, you can't put as many characters per row as you can a sign, and that's because they are physically thinner. One of the next best features in 1.20 is the chiseled bookshelf. This is honestly just an amazing looking block that's got a great pattern on it, gonna be used for so many things, but it's also an interactable bookshelf. So you can put written books in there, you can put book and quills in there, you can put regular books in there, you can put enchanted books in there, and then as you can see, you can actually like put them in individual slots as well, and then take them back out again. So you can put them in any slot that you want, and depending on the slot that you're looking at, you actually get that book back. So it's actually really good for libraries. Crafting the chiseled bookshelf is really easy. All you need is 6 planks on the top and bottom, and then 3 slabs in the middle. So not only are these things great on their own, but they're also a redstone component as well, because as you can see, you can read from them using a comparator. You can also put things into them using a hopper, and take books out of them using another hopper. So you can actually make book sorters now without needing an allay, which is really cool. Minecraft 1.20 also massively upgrades the sculk sensor. Instead of being an item that detects literally everything, we can now craft it into the calibrated sculk sensor. The crafting recipe is really easy. You just need a sculk sensor sensor, 3 amethyst shards, and that is how you get the calibrated. So if you use this right, you can filter out different vibrations or sound waves from entities. That way, instead of detecting literally everything under the sun, we can have it detect only certain things. So how you do it is you simply send in a redstone power into the back side of it on the amethyst right here, and depending on the power of this redstone signal, it's only going to detect certain things. So as you can see, I can jump around, walk around, I can break blocks all day long, but it's not going to activate the sculk sensor. Now, if I place a block, that's when it actually gets activated and sends out a redstone signal. The sculk sensor range has also been massively buffed as well. Previously, it was an 8-block radius around them, so an 8-block sphere, but now it's all the way out to 16 blocks, which is just a huge upgrade. And of course, depending on how far away the activator is, the signal strength will be different. So at 16 blocks, it's just 1 signal strength. And if you activate it like right next to it, you're going to get a much stronger signal strength. And of course, to calibrate your sculk sensor, you need to know the values of the signal strength to send into the backside. And here they are, straight from the Minecraft wiki. But wait, there's more, because now we can use vibration resonance with sculk sensors to act as repeaters to wirelessly send a signal as far as your render distance is. So all you need to do is have a sculk sensor or a calibrated sculk sensor, and then put yourself an amethyst block next to it, and that'll start repeating the signal along the chain. So as you see, if we activate this, it activates all along the line, activating our redstone. Now, if you pair this with the calibrated sculk sensor, as you can see, none of the activations that we don't want are going to mess with it, whereas this one's just getting activated all the time, but like a pig. So this one's set up to only detect placing blocks, so if we place ourselves a block, it's going to activate all of our redstone all the way down there. Of course, you can also waterlog the sculk sensor as well to make it slightly quieter, but you're always going to have the amethyst sound. And as you can see, you can power a block that is next to a sculk sensor as long as it's on the amethyst side. The best item in the game has also been added in 1.20, and that is the piglin head. As you can see, when you wear it, the ears actually wiggle when you walk around, which is great. And of course, when you place this thing on the ground and power it with some redstone, it's also gonna wiggle, just like how the dragon head opens and closes. So how do you get the piglin head? Well, you get it pretty much the same as the other mob heads. And you know what that means. It's time to introduce our good friend, Mr. Charge Creeper, to all the lovely citizens of the Nether. So go ahead and get one of your guys in here, line them up, and then as soon as they die, they will all drop themselves a piglin head, as you can see. I would recommend doing this in the Nether, because if you're not quick enough, your piglins are actually going to convert into zombie pigmen. And of course, those guys don't drop anything because they're just a lousy species. But hey, you know what? We can still blow them up anyway. Mojang wasn't done there. They decided to go all out and make mob heads actually useful. So if you guys put these on top of a note block now, it'll actually make the same sound as that mob. So we got skeleton with a skeleton. Steve doesn't do anything because he's so lazy. Piglin. Creeper is great. We got the dragon, which is somehow just always so loud, and a zombie. Now, of course, Mojang was smart, and they made it so that you couldn't just put 2 observers down and spam the thing. You know, of course, Mojang would go ahead and make a very balanced game, and I think everybody's on board that, like, you know, this feature just shouldn't exist. If you thought that that was all, no. Bedrock Edition is getting so much more in the 1.20 update. It's huge amounts of parity. So we're getting the 1.5 block tall sneaking, where you can go underneath slabs and you're actually physically shorter. And we're also getting crawling on Bedrock Edition, where you can go into blocks when you are underneath a trapdoor. And now you are 1 block tall. It is absolutely great. We've been waiting to have these features on Bedrock for so long. The possibilities are endless with this feature. Now you can throw yourself away in a composter, and I could not be happier. It's the best thing ever. I'm so happy. And not only that, they've also added banner shields to Bedrock Edition as well. So now you can take any banner you want, or any banner that you've created, and put that thing on a shield. Now, it still looks a little bit wonky because, you know, the proportions are slightly different, but it is here. After so many years of requesting it, it has finally arrived on Bedrock Edition. Not only that, we also have the rest recipe unlocking being added to Bedrock. So whenever you collect a new block or resource, it's going to give you a toast in the upper right, which gives you all of the recipes associated with it. So as you can see, you're limited to, just your 2 tabs, but as you go around and you collect more resources, you're going to be able to craft new things. So as you can see, with just these couple major parity features, Mojang really is working on bringing some big parity features to Bedrock Edition, and I wouldn't be surprised if the 1.20 updates in the future, such as 1.20.2, bring even more big parity features, such as banners on maps, or maybe even the offhand. If you enjoyed this video, then drop a like and share it around so that other people can as well. If you enjoy Minecraft news and want to stay up to date with everything that's happening, then of course subscribe, and you'll also be helping us reach 600,000. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys down in the comments and in the next one.